The perfume receipt. Receipts tell stories better than people do. People edit. Paper reports. The one I found was from a boutique that wraps bottles like promises. It slept at the bottom of our kitchen trash under coffee grounds and the soft skin of a pear. Price: too high for just because. Time: 18:42 on a Wednesday. I had spent at a site meeting arguing about a beam. My wife had said she was home with a headache. The receipt was for a men's fragrance whose ads show men leaning on balconies they don't own. I washed my hands and set the paper on the counter to dry like a fish someone had thrown back. My wife, Elena, came in later with a smile for every chair. "How was your day?" I asked. "Migraine," she said, touching her temple, the universal sign for don't ask me for anything. "Better now." She kissed my cheek and I smelled something that wasn't hers and was definitely not mine. It drifted behind her like an exit. We had been married 11 years. 2 good jobs, one small apartment with brick that pretends to be old, a circle of friends who like to say things like date night. We were those people who remember birthdays and bring flowers. I believed in small kindnesses the way some people believe in vitamins, daily and invisible until you stop. The next day I walked by the boutique, the kind with a bell on a soft string and a clerk whose hands move like dancers. I asked about the fragrance. He told me it was popular with men who wanted to be noticed right before they left a room. I asked if they gift-wrapped often. "Mostly for women who know what they want," he said, and smiled at the kind of joke that wants to be thought wise. At home, I did not turn into a detective. I became a listener who finally heard what the house had been saying. The phone vibrating face down on the table. The schedule that now included Pilates at odd hours. The shower that ran longer. The mirror that collected new kinds of practice smiles. I tried to talk. She said work was heavy. I asked if mine was. She asked if I was accusing. I said I was tired of feeling like a bench where other people put their bags while they tie their shoes. 2 weeks later, I found another receipt. Same store, different fragrance. Midnight purchase this time, as if scent becomes more honest at night. I put it next to the first one, twins born wrong months apart. Elena saw them and said, "Gifts, for clients." I asked their names. She said I wouldn't know them. I asked why the gifts smelled like the elevator in our building. She walked away the way people leave theaters before the credits out of principle. I started leaving earlier for work. It's easier to be on time for a place that doesn't lie. My crew watched me measure twice and cut once and then measure again. Wood doesn't gaslight. It splits when you ask too much and holds when you treat it with respect. I came home late enough to miss the perfume's opening notes and only meet the dry down that clings to curtains. Scents have a memory. They don't sign NDAs. One evening I got a message from a number not in my contacts. "He shouldn't have used your brand." There was a link. It led to a photo taken in a lobby mirror, the kind with silver edges and soft lighting that forgives everyone. My wife stood under her scarf, half turned, smiling at a man whose jacket was the same cut as mine, only more amused with itself. He held a shopping bag with the boutique's logo. I stared until the image blurred and the only thing left was the bag. I saved the photo and did something I wasn't proud of. I printed it, paper again, evidence again. I placed it under a glass on our kitchen table like a pressed leaf. Elena came in, saw it, and froze. Then she sat tired in a way sleep doesn't fix. "It was supposed to be harmless," she said. "What is harmless called when it leaves receipts?" I asked. She said the man was from her gym. He was funny. He listened. He knew things about scent. I told her I knew things about us. We went to counseling once. The therapist had soft lamps and tissues in a box that made a sound like dry snow. We sat on a couch that encouraged empathy. Elena said she felt unappreciated. I said I felt invisible. The therapist said those were neighbors. I looked at the clock and thought about how long it takes to leave a room if you walk slowly. After the session, Elena said she wasn't sure therapy was for her. I said the receipts were not for me. We negotiated like diplomats who both wanted the same land because their grandparents had promised it to them. Who keeps the apartment? Who keeps the friends? Who tells the truth to whose mother? We ate takeout from the place that gets our order right no matter what. I drank water like it could make new rivers in a city that had already mapped itself without me. Elena cried on a Tuesday that felt like a Thursday. She said the perfume made her feel like someone else, like a version of herself who hadn't done the laundry on a Sunday and wasn't worried about paying for the plumber. She said the man smelled like decisions she didn't have to make. I said I smelled like the life we had chosen. She nodded. We both heard the sentence land between us and start looking for a place to sleep. In the end, we didn't break any dishes. We wrote our names neatly on separate leases. I moved into a smaller place with high windows and a neighbor who plays guitar like he's apologizing to the notes. The first night I slept there, I dreamed I was walking through a department store where all the testers were unlabeled and everything was honest only after you wore it for hours. I still have the receipts in a folder, not to punish myself, to remember that paper speaks when mouths don't. Sometimes I pass the boutique and the clerk waves, not recognizing me without the look I wore then. I walk past and think how scents linger long after the person they introduced has left the building, and how some departures are just a different kind of entrance to your own life. Tell me your country and age below. If you've ever learned the truth from a small piece of paper, I hope the next thing you read is kinder.